Good morning, traders. This is Barry Wilkey with StartupTrading.com. It is 8:48 a.m. Eastern Time on Friday, June 26, 2020. So looking back at yesterday's session, we really had a failure to make any progress going lower. So at the end of the day, just for fun, it was shake out the bears, right? So we had a rally coming up into the end of the day. Really didn't get past, except for the Russell, didn't really get past any of the value area highs. So that was what I was looking for. I led yesterday morning. The Russell hit it fairly early. So now that we've done that, there's a couple scenarios that can play out, right? Because we do have some bears trapped below us. So let's dig in and look a little bit. Also, if you were paying attention yesterday, these thin green and pink lines that I have and this dashed line in the middle was the overnight action that I tweeted out yesterday. The vertical bar was the 9:30 bell in the morning. So you can see, coming after the bell opened, right, couldn't get really up past that point of control, come back down, tested underneath the value area low for the overnight session, and these thick gray boxes are the value area high and low for yesterday's session. From day to day, those were pretty large ranges, right? So as we come back down, we cross back up above the overnight bounce, right, and the value area, hit that point of control again, flip flop on it, and just trade pretty much back and forth between that overnight value area until late afternoon, right around 2 o'clock. Is when we started this uptrend, and we just got up to value area high, and that's really where the session ends. Right here is where this other vertical bar is. So keep in mind that that overnight value area is that's where traders are when we are close to the bell, right? Those are who's traded overnight in the current session, and then the other value area I give you is day over day, where those traders are. So looking at the untested node. So if we don't, right now we're around the upper end of this node. We're currently trading 63.75 up here. So we're around the upper end of this node. So this upper end of this node is going to be right around 75 or so, to where you can see there's a valley in here. So yesterday's action was in this little bit of a valley in this node. So untested levels above, which I don't think are on the table for today, at this point in time, are 31.32 half above and 29.35 below. So we're likely just to still really trade between 3,000, and if we do get some lift in the morning, right, we could maybe trade up to that 31.15. We'd have to get over that 31.15, and we'll talk about it more in a minute, to really get anything going to the upside, but that would have to start very early in the session. So looking at the overnight session, we have 33.25 points so far, so it's kind of small. So this double distribution is from last Friday that I'm really watching still. It's the lower end is 31.05. Is the top of the lower distribution from last Friday. The beginning or the bottom of the upper distribution is 31.15. That's been in play all week as like a pivot point with a no man's land in between for those 10 points. So, but what we really have going on is after this drop down, right, we have bears trapped down in this section of the chart. So, we broke down, we traded a lot of trades, went off down here, and then we broke back to the upside last night. So as we look, closer at the action right here, you can see really what I'm looking for is we've got back above a major support resistance line I'm looking at, which is 30.61 half. You can see we broke down under it, tested value area high in the overnight session, and went back up. So we're, just on that support line. If that support line doesn't hold, we'll have to see, basically the value area and what's going on with it today, to see, if there's any responsive buying and selling, or if we just get trapped back inside of this range that we've been stuck in for the previous few days anyways. So looking back at the bigger picture, right, so these are the major support and resistance lines for me. You got 30, 70, 75, so you might as well call, or 31, 70, 75, you might as well call it 31, 71, and then you got 30, 60, 1/2, and then down here you got 29.81. So failure to really hold above 61 could open the door later today towards this 29.81. But we'll have to see. There's a lot of bears that want their money back in this range, and every time we start to get into that, it could just be a lift out of it, depending on how worried they are about it. Another thing to worry about is with the coronavirus uncertainty, right? How many institutions and traders are going to want to go out long this weekend. So look at the session as a couple different, places. Look for, a potential move no matter where we end up trading before 2 to 2:30 this afternoon. Look for some potential selling if there's not a serious squeeze going on. Meaning if we're not above 31.15 and we're up around 31.05, look for it to head back down towards 30.61. Etc. If we're already down here, look for it to go, later in the day towards this 29.81. I think that the normal pattern since COVID started, right, when there's COVID uncertainty and things start to look a little gloomy, it's a Friday afternoon sell is the pattern, right? There's not too many times that since this started when things look gloomy that it was a Friday afternoon buy. With all that said, this is the Bulls' day to lose, right? They've got bears trapped down here, so let's see if it's their job to keep them trapped and keep prices basically above 31.61, and you can see an above value or high. Getting back into value, right, is just going to lead us back down. So watch that overnight action when I send that out this morning. See where traders are positioned. So for all of the action, right? Where we had some pie in the sky prints last night. This is more than likely going to be resistance if it's not crossed over before 11:30. This is going to be the lid today. If we can't get over this in the first 2 hours, we're basically not going to get over it the rest of the day, in my opinion. So looking at value, you can see we're inside of value or above value. The overnight low, and I'm still watching for the as a signal, the Nasdaq holding that. It's holding that upper distribution from last Friday still, where the ES is quite a bit under it. So holding above 2050 to, you might as well call it, or 10,050 to 10,020. That is the area that is support. Falling back under that and getting back into value, right, you're just going to lead to retest of these points of control. So the point of control today is 30.38 for the ES, 99.95 for the NASDAQ. Looking at sequences, really nothing going on for the ES, right? Bulls and bears both just getting chop fest for the sequence overnight. Same with the NASDAQ and same with the Russell. So it looks like a chop fest. So again, this is where the traders are trapped in the ES. There should be responsive buys all the way from basically from this leg start up at 30.41, 30.42 basically up. There should be responsive buyers, but once you cross under that 61 to 57 area of the chart, right, that's when that's going to be resistance going up, back and forth, and you should just eventually be able to churn through this area of the chart and make it to those lower levels. Looking at the NASDAQ, the NASDAQ is the healthier, stronger thing, but here's where their traders are trapped. Again, I'm still watching. It's going to need to get back under this 10,020 with some conviction to have a shot at hitting 98.35, which is a bigger level for both Jack and I. So keep in mind that if we do trade that sometime this afternoon, that it's likely to get a nice response off that and, could make its way all the way back up to 99.38, which would almost be a 100-point run if that level is tagged sometime today. Looking at the Russell, again, it's just really sitting here washing back and forth across this node. So I'm going to leave this on for a day or two, but this support resistance line might be getting out. But you can see where their traders are trapped down here, right? They're already getting back into that level. And again, getting under basically 1386 half is going to be very problematic, and maybe that'll be the first line of or sign of weakness for all the markets if that's what indeed the Russell does today. Looking at the Dow, you can see similar to the Russell, right? It's getting closer to this action. You know, the trap isn't as strong for either the Russell or the Dow, but getting back under where we started that lift up is going to be right around 25,311, and then that's going to be problematic, and that's probably going to lead you back down to these lower levels. 24,775 is what I'd look for, and then it's the same thing if you don't get any conviction or buyers there. 24,555 is my bigger level. So looking back at all the indexes, and the most important thing to watch to get a wrap on this is seeing if the NASDAQ holds up above basically 10,020. So then you've got the point of control at just under 10,000 at 9,995. That's where you want to see, if you're bullish, you don't want to see it get below there. If you're bearish, taking out these levels should end up churning very slowly and painfully down to these lower targets that we've mentioned earlier. And again, don't look for anything really under 29.81 unless it happens early in the day. If we get a big flush right off the gate and can get down there, we might be able to churn through it this afternoon, but that would be a massive reach. The expected move today, which doesn't mean a whole lot lately, isn't that much. I think it's like 32, 33 points plus or minus. So if you look at the ES, basically you might as well say that we're trading 3060. So that would be up to 3090 and down to 3000. I hope this helps. You guys have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you on Monday.